are here today with one of our favorite Chamber of Commerce members, and this Chamber of Commerce member has been a longtime community networking partner, and is just involved in all of our events and has a presence there, whether it's through sponsorship or whatever. And they get us really excited about their involvement and such. And we are at Lumber King in Oneida. Now we have Willie with us that, of course, has grown up in Scott County, and you are now at the corporate office.
I am in the corporate office. My official role is Vice President of Operations for our company. So I've been doing that for a little while and enjoying that to help our company grow and expand.
And then we also have, it's not a new employee, but a new role, Charles here.
Yes, I'm Charles Ross, the new store manager here at Lumber King. I've been with Lumber King for almost 10 years now, and just looking forward to serving the community in this new role, and I'm excited for it.
And Charles, how long have you been the manager? It's just been
less than a month.
Less than a month, you all. So, here you go. And Willie, I know that you all, when Phil retired, right? It was at Christmas, or I think December was his last month. I know that the team looked at. Was it ever any kind of question in your all's mind that you wanted to hire from internal because they knew the business and understood it?
No, that is something that over the years we have tried to do now. I would say probably about 10 years ago, we started looking long term and saying, okay, who do we have in place? How are they going to, when will they basically be retiring? And so then we started, okay, let's get some people in the right positions so that when that time comes, we can actually just move people up. We have found that over the years, by letting somebody progress up, it helps the organization. They're better in tune with the business model that we currently have. And it just helps for an overall, I would say, a more supportive system. The employees take more to that, and it's kind of like, okay, it's not a big change for the employees, it's not a big change for our customers, it's just somebody moving to a different role.
Yeah, and I know that you started out here, is that right? Did you start in
No, actually, I started, I've been with the company, I'm on my 24th year, believe it or not. But when I started with the company, I actually started in Mount Vernon, Kentucky. So I drove from here to Mount Vernon for about a while, and I have actually, I laugh because I tell everybody, I said, I progressed through, I have managed our Mount Vernon location, our Somerset location, Whitley. I come down here to fill in for a little while. And I said, so I guess the next thing is maybe if either get my pink slip or go home. I said that's where we're at. But we're hoping to retire here. That's one of our philosophies when we go to hire people, is that we want to hire you to retire you. That's what our philosophy is, and that's kind of the way we do.
Okay, so now Charles, you have been how long an employee of Lumber King?
Almost 10 years, yeah.
10
years.
Years.
Short of 10 years.
And was that when you hired him? Was that your goal one day? Maybe, hey, I'll
sure.
get to manage the store.
When I was interviewed by Willie at the time, when he asked me where I saw myself in 3 years, 5 years from that point, I asked him how long he planned on working here. I said, because, I'm shooting for your job, okay? And so he knew that going into it, and he hired me. With that being said, so I could tell at that point that he had some confidence in me, and he probably saw that there was something there that eventually, maybe 10 years later down the road would pan out.
Yeah. So how long has Lumber King been in business?
So we are, I think, on 64 years.
Wow.
We started in 1960 as a partnership between Stearns Cohen Lumber Company and Ronald King, Dwayne King's father. And so the Stearns Cohen Lumber Company had actually gotten out of the lumber business, and they decided, hey, we wanted to get back in it. And when they started talking about it, they knew that Ronald was going to be a key part of that process. And so they went to him and said, hey, told him what they were thinking. He said, yeah, but I have to have a partnership in it. And so the company basically formed with Ronald having 51%, Stearns Cohen Lumber Company having 49%. And that partnership stayed for a while. Of course, Ronald brought on Dwayne, and Dwayne was actually in law school at the time. And so some partners there at Stearns Coleman Lumber Company talked to Dwayne. He had no really ambition about coming back, but they talked to him and said, you know, your dad really needs you to come and help him with this company. And so he did, and unfortunately, just a few years later, his dad passed away. And so at that time, Dwayne took the helm of the company and developed it. And then a few years later down the road, and I say a few years, in 1970, we come here. And this was actually, believe it or not, this was actually our first retail store.
Wow.
So we opened this, and at the time, our name was King Lumber Company, okay? And so somebody already had that name in the state of Tennessee, so we couldn't use it. And so that's why we had to use King Building Materials. And it was King Building Materials, it was King Lumber doing business as King Building Materials. That was the way this was formed. So we built this store, and in 1980, then we went back to Whitley, and because we were in Stearns, when we went to Whitley at that point and moved to our current location that we are in Whitley City there. The company pretty much stayed intact the way everything was, and then Stearns Coleman Lumber Company had digressed down, and so Dwayne and Bill Singleton and another gentleman by the name of Evan Tyndall actually went in and bought the assets of Stearns Coleman Lumber Company, which included the other half of Lumber King. And so, and they'd formed a company called Relum. So Relum, and then Dwayne's part is what Lumber King was operated at until about 1994. And so Bill and Dwayne and Evan kind of all got together. Evan was more on the railroad side of what the business was, and so he kind of stuck to it. And so Bill and Dwayne and everybody met, and they were like, you know, we really don't have nobody that in our family that wants to take over and run the company. I think it'd be beneficial that we actually look into an ESOP. It's an employee-owned stock ownership plan. And so in 1994, that plan got put in place. And so through the years, the ESOP has bought out the remaining shares of Bill and Dwayne. And so in 2020, we actually become 100% employee-owned.
Wow.
So it is. It's a great program. It gives our employees, number one, stake in the company. So the better the company does, the better their stock does.
So it gives you that incentive to really be, like you said, yes.
Yes.
Now, Willie, I want to go back to you just for a second because I said this is where you started because you have strong family ties in Lumber King, do you not?
I do. I have been fortunate. I tell people all the time, I'm fortunate because I get to follow in my father's footsteps. My father worked for the company for 32 years. He managed the store, and then he moved to the corporate side, and he was basically what we call a merchandiser or a product manager for the company. And so he did that. And then my uncle actually worked here, and he worked for the company for 40 years. So yeah, my blood runs deep in Lumber King.
So you just assume he got his start here because you saw his whole family here. I can remember coming in, and you know it was your dad and your uncle, and then that was Lumber King to me. You know, that was what I remember. And then Charles, what made you want to apply at Lumber King? What was your history there as far as work?
Well, work history, you know, I worked at Armstrong for about 17 years, you know, and when the big layoff came for them, you know, and they shut the facilities down and everything, you know, I just did some jobs after that and worked a couple of different places, Miller Energy for one, and then things started getting kind of slow around that time for them about 10 years ago. So the manager at the time at the store, you know, I knew him, and he suggested that maybe I come here and apply. And when I talked to them, the gentleman that was here, Pat Garrett, if anybody knows him from back in the day, you know, he was getting that retirement age. Once again, like Willie said, they hire to retire here, you know. So Pat was about to retire within a matter of months, and you know, the next thing I know, everything just fell into place with that, and you know, so So Pat trained me in here with to learn his role in the company, and you know, it just kind of grew from there.
And I want to say, over the years, through working with the state and different things, that work ethic from those, you know, we still say Tibbles, Armstrong, AHF, whatever, but we always say Tibbles, the work ethic of the employees there. You know, it was always kind of the running joke. You have to make them retire after 50 years.
Yes,
They
yes.
won't go home. I mean, you know, it was a family environment, and
Sure.
then that's what you've walked into here, isn't it?
Yeah.
So in the 10 years that you've been here, how's Lumber King changed this store particularly? While we're excited about all the other stores as well, but we're focused on this one today. Tell me the changes you've seen in Lumber King.
Okay, yes, there's been many changes. You know, for one thing, we have increased our inventories here. You know, we carry more product lines now. We've seen a huge increase in our rental department. We have more equipment here available for customers to rent. You know, our delivery process, we've streamlined that quite a bit, and we're continuing to improve on that. You know, and I feel that our customer service has improved here with all these areas and everything that we have to offer for the customers. You know, I'm sure in your role you see a lot of citizens from other states, other towns that have moved into this area. And with our location here, you know, they come in here a lot of times, and you know, we try to talk to them and welcome them to this community and offer our services to them. And we also provide you know, areas that we might not have here, such as landscaping contractors that they're looking for, or they come by here sometimes and ask for the best places to eat in town and things like that. So we offer all those suggestions here. So it's not about just coming in and buying building material necessarily, but we want to build relationships with the citizens of Scott County and provide these thoughts on you know, where's a good place to eat in town. Okay.
Well, in their building supply store, honestly, for our newcomers, is some of their first encounters with the citizens of Scott County. Wouldn't you agree with that, Willie? Like, they're going to have in Scott County, obviously, utilities, and then it is the building. And so you all really do play that critical role in selling Scott County.
We do, and this staff knows that. I kid with them all the time. I harp on them a lot about that, is that, hey, you know, these people are coming in, you don't really know them. So you're one of the first impressions they get of what Scott County is. And so the more you make them welcome and feel welcome here, that's just a repeat of, hey, how, you know, they're going to come back because they felt welcome. They felt, you know, not, you didn't stub them up and move on. And so that's one of the things that we have tried to work on here in the last little bit is that customer service, that friendliness when you come through the door, and just improving overall.
And you talked about rentals. Tell me about what all you do rent, because I don't think people really understand what's available to rent here.
Okay, of course they can go online to our website and click on the rental box there to see what all's available, and it has our rates on it. But just some of the items that we have, of course, we have a skid steer, we have a mini excavator, wood splitters, we have aluminum brakes, we have step ladders that we rent, we have nail guns that we rent,
Tables and chairs.
saws, tables and chairs even that we rent, you know, that are very, very popular. And you know, our rates are extremely reasonable, and so just we encourage people to call in and ask what we have available. They can also reserve these items if they know they have a date coming up they're going to need, for instance, tables and chairs for an event that's coming up for them. They can call and reserve those. So we encourage people to call and ask about our rental department, or go online and look it up there.
Yeah, I know that there was always a question for us at the chamber, where can I get tables and chairs? So I can imagine that, you know, we send them to you all now, and I can imagine that is probably something that gets requested a lot.
Yes, it sure is. It sure is.
So that's available to you all folks. Now, one thing, during COVID, you all building supply stores saw a surge in honeydew lists getting filled.
Sure.
And how did you adapt to that? Because a lot of businesses were shutting down, and that was when you all really stepped up and said, hey, we're gonna be here. And how did you all manage through those hard times? You know, he's
Yeah.
like, I don't want to think back to that, Stacey. Nobody wants to go back to that.
Well, it was a very not really hard time. It was a very stressful time for us because at the time, you know, of course, the state of Tennessee was not as strenuous as the state of Kentucky.
Right.
And so it was daily that we were like, okay, is the day going to be the day that we're going to get this email that says, hey, you've got to shut down? And so we basically had met as a corporate staff. We come up with a plan of, hey, this is how we're going to operate. This is how we're going to do. And we just tried to, number one, work on making sure that all of our vendors had enough material on the hand that we could pull from. Trying to take a look at, it's hard to forecast. Who would ever thought that a 8-foot decking board would be something that was just nowhere available?
Yeah.
And so there were things like that we were working very hard to try to see, hey, is there another supplier we can pull from? What can we do to keep our people going? And so that was some of the things that we did. And it helped us. It helped us, number one, our counts went up as far as the people coming in, but it helped us as far as reevaluating, hey, what things are we not offering that we can offer? And as Charles spoke earlier, that's some of the things that now that you're seeing that, hey, we've taken more an aggressive approach of let's take a look at our inventory, let's reevaluate, let's maybe look at beefing up some areas and what we need to do. And so we did all that. Another thing that what COVID made us do is take a look more to the future. And we started the whole, online processing. Some people, it's still hard for me because I'm like, hey, I'm a brick and mortar person, to me to go to click and just have something. But we understand that there's people out there who are not like that. So we have invested in that. We are in the process of finishing up our final stages of updating our website to where you can actually go online and see if we don't have it here in the store. You can actually find that item out of our warehouse that we pull from and actually have it delivered here to the store and picked up free of charge. So we're doing things like that. We'll hopefully get to the point, our next step would be integrating our inventory so that if there's a product that, hey, you want to see if we're having it available at the store, you could click on it and see what quantities are available. So we are getting there. It's on the hardware end, it's not as fast as everything else. And so, but we are getting there to get all that done.
And I know that during COVID, that was one thing that everyone faced, being able to get the products because you all could order, you had your suppliers, but they didn't have the product. Do you see that now being a problem really, or have we really recovered from that?
We have come a long way from that because, like you say, that was a huge challenge back in during that time frame. But things have really come around. I think as a whole, we've gotten back to about where we were before. So we were looking to advance even more though and be more prepared in case something like that were to happen again, God forbid. But we hopefully we can have learned from that and we can advance and grow from that challenge that I think have overcome.
So you all added something just for anybody to walk in. Of course, anybody can walk in, and if you don't know anything about what you need, usually one of you can tell you, okay, yeah, bless your heart, Stacey, you don't have a clue. We're gonna get you the right thing.
Come sit, talk with me, right?
Yeah, you don't know. And please tell me you're not doing the project yourself because you're not gonna make it. But in saying that, you all added something for just anybody, the clothing line. What brought that on?
We started the clothing line, Lord of mercy, probably 15 years ago.
I started.
And so as we started looking at it, we were like, okay, there's a niche here. And so we started building that. This is the only store that we have that has the clothing line. And one of the reasons is because they have the staff here that has really embraced it, and they're very good at what they do. And we've taken the approach of, hey, we're going to have the sizes that may not be available at other stores. I'm a big guy, and I can't hardly buy clothes because I can't find a place that carries them. So that was one of our approaches is, hey, if you're a big guy, we're going to have the stuff to fit you in a Carhartt. So that was what we've done over the years is we've marketed that and gone that away and tried to take a look at, hey, what fashions are going and happening. And it's hard. What people don't realize, we order this stuff in about a year in advance. So it's like, okay, we're going to try this to see what happens. And so we keep growing it, and it's been very successful for us.
Yeah, because I remember when I first remember you all having it, it was a smaller section, and it just keeps expanding down the store, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Pretty soon we're going to be looking at Carhartt.
Yeah, we may have to add on to the building.
Hey, that's fine. You all got the lumber,
Right,
so
and
you can do it. Yeah.
to add to that, we have increased our inventory there because we now carry kids' clothing also in the Carhartt that we didn't used to carry, up until 3 or 4 years ago when we started carrying the kids' clothing as well.
Well, and I know that because you are employee owned, that push to be a part of the community, that's always been there. Lumber King's always been a part of the community, but we've really seen you all excel in that, especially through the chamber and the programs. You all are reaching out to us constantly. You've participated in the parade. You're one of our biggest sponsors at Fall in the Mall. Yeah, that's just setting you up for this year. I'm just saying.
Okay.
But,
So go ahead and sign us up,
yeah,
right?
I
Okay,
just went ahead and
gotcha.
said, write
Okay.
that check. But no, it's not just that. It's not just the chamber. It's so many programs, so many things. That's really important to you all, isn't it?
It is. That is part of our business model that we do. We realize that without our community, we can't exist. And so I look at it as being, I would say, if we didn't give back to our community, we're almost selfish, because it's like we would take from the community, not give back. So that's one of the things that I think with us being employee owned, it helps because, number one, our owners are from our community. And so we want to give back to the community that helps us so much and over the years grow and do. And, it's like I said, it's just part of our business model of the way we do.
Yeah, and while we appreciate, I think that's one approach that the Chamber looks at. We appreciate new growth in Scott County. We all want to see that happen, but, and we're very blessed. We have a lot of franchises that are locally owned, so we still get that little feeling of being spoiled and all that. But it is, when you look, I tell our community this all the time, when you're looking at the ball field or when you're looking at an event and you're looking at that list of sponsors, it's your locally owned businesses that's paying for those uniforms for that ball team or the upkeep of that field or sending the band to competition. Whatever it is, because I think each business kind of has their passion. And it takes all of that to make it work. But that is one thing we're trying to challenge the students of the future. If you're asking them to support you in your education or your post-secondary, whatever, your curricular, just whatever events, your post-secondary education, the activities, invest back in them because they're only as strong as we make them as they're, as we shop. And I think that's a business model that you don't see all the time when it's a corporate-based store. There are a few that excel and they do really amazing things. I don't want to downplay that, but for the most part, it is that local, isn't it?
It is, and like I said, even though that we are a company, a lot of people don't realize we have 5 locations, but we're still that homegrown. As one of our board members told us, it's kind of like we are a corporation, but yet we're still that mom and pop feel. That's the way we want our customers to feel like, and we want our employees to feel that way too. As Charles can contest, sometimes I get accused because I work so much, but any employee knows that they can call me any time of the night, any time during the day to talk to me about anything. It doesn't have to actually be work related. And I think because of that model that we have set up that way, it helps our, as you said earlier, our employees feel this is a family atmosphere that they are part of. And so that has helped, that family atmosphere goes hand in hand with helping with the community because your community is your family also.
It is.
Yeah, and it's about relationships.
Right.
We want to build relationships with our coworkers and our community, the citizens of this county. We want to build those relationships and hopefully be like one big family, like a family relationship is what we kind of strive to do here.
So, any big announcements coming that you want to drop here first? That maybe the whole corporate team didn't know was happening, but Willie, you decided so today. Charles, how about you? You want to step into that role as manager, just take on something?
Well, I think the news that Willie might have for us is more than we can handle right now, so we'll just leave it to him, okay?
We are, just be on the lookout. We'll have some new events coming up for the 2024 season.
Wow.
As I think you've seen, we have made Milwaukee one of our premier power tools vendors for us. And so I think be looking for some more of our Milwaukee days. And we have some other events in our planning. I actually just came from our, we have a new position that I think you were aware of that we just did about a year and a half ago, and we have a director of marketing for us now. And so I just come from a meeting with her and our purchaser. We met, and so we planned out the next about 3 to 4 months, and so be on the lookout because there's going to be a lot going on here with Lumber King.
And you can follow them obviously on Facebook. You all have, for the social media people, there's the Facebook page. You can go online. I'm sure it'll be updated on your website as well. But he's talking about the Oneida store, folks. It's coming here, is what he's saying. It's coming here. I mean, because this is where Willie's and Charles is calling him. So we're going to get, no offense to the Kentucky store, we're going to be better. I'm just saying, that's going to be cut, so it doesn't even matter. But anyway, so any last thoughts you all about anything?
Well, I just want to welcome people into our store now, you know, and I feel truly blessed to have this opportunity once again to serve our community and our customers that come in. And I feel if you come in and give us a chance and see what we're about here, that you will be very well pleased with what we have to offer all the way through.
I agree.
The only thing I want to say is thank you to the community. Thank you for the last 64 years that you all have supported this company. There's not a lot of our company still left in the industry. They're slowly dying out. And so for us to continue on being here and being strong like we are, that's a testament to you all, our customers, for what they've done. And to our employees, thank you all for the hard work. I can't do, as I tell people, what I do is nothing. What they do is the most important thing. They're our most valuable employee, is the people here on the front line that deals with our customers every day, that gives that customer that experience. And so my hat's off to all this.
And he's being truthful about that too. I have heard him say that many times, okay, about his employees. I also want to thank Stacey and Ben for being here today and providing us this opportunity to present ourselves and what we are here.
Well, Willie, for your family's years of dedication, I know that the economy hasn't always been kind to small businesses, especially in Scott County. Rural seems like we feel it first, but your family and the business model, y'all hung right in here and brought through the lean times, and your family, that is Lumber King Oneida, the past to me is your family. And then Charles, I'm excited about your role, and congratulations.
Well,
you worked hard and being able to step up into that, and we look forward to seeing what all the new things happen, even if he doesn't approve.